night. Feeling the passion igniting the light. Through highs and lows we'll stand as one. Our legacy a tale that's just begun. Together we roar. Together we roar. The Detroit Lions will rise. With a heart full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future we'll claim our own. In the home of the brave we'll proudly have grown. So let's lift our voices. Let's turn it up loud. For the love of the Lions we'll always be proud.
Wow. First of all, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. What an amazing game it was for the Detroit Lions in the first half. I'm not so sure about the second half, but I will tell you, I just got off the phone with Roger Goodell, and here's what he had to say. The Detroit Lions were kicking the Bears' ass so bad in yardage that he said that somebody had to let somebody score some yards in the second half, and then the Bears would just blow it in the final 30 seconds of the game, and that's exactly what happened. Wouldn't you like to believe that's what happened? Because I don't think that's what happened. Just kidding. Didn't call Roger Goodell. But what in the world did we just witness? That was the weirdest ending to a game that I think I've ever seen. And I said it during the live show, and I was kind of losing it there for a minute in the live show that, man, you completely take the Bears out of the first half. Offensively, you do an excellent job. And then in the second half, you fall apart. And we had a lot of injuries, which we'll talk about. But then to witness the refs really not do a whole lot in this game. And then the last few minutes of the game, it was flag fest. It was offensive pass interference, which backs up a big play by, I think it was DJ Moore, brings the Bears all the way back. I think it's like 3rd and 14 or whatever. And then you get this crazy call, which I think was on Kindle Vildor for pass interference, which, yeah, he was grabby, handsy, but there was nothing going on. Caleb was on the run. Now, he didn't break the plane, but did he establish himself as a runner? I don't know. But the whole point is it was a pretty cheap call. The ball wasn't anywhere near Vildor or, Moore. And Vildor actually had to dive about 8 yards to even have a chance at picking off the ball. And the flag comes in. And it gives the Bears another opportunity. The Bears get sacked. Caleb gets sacked. And then they get up and they've got 32 seconds and a timeout. And they don't spike it. It's 3rd down. They don't spike it, thinking they're just going to kick a field goal. Nope, they didn't even do that. They let the clock run all the way down to about 8 seconds before Caleb snaps the ball. They had a timeout. They could have stopped the clock at any point in time. And then Caleb launches the ball deep, and it ends the game. Weird. You could visually see on the Bears sideline, his entire team is jumping up and down like, hike the ball, do something, hike the ball. Weirdest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen a game end in a fashion where so egregiously mishandled by the head coach. Eber, he's fired tomorrow. Has to be. So here's my first question. Does Caleb Williams hate his head coach that much that he just did all of that on purpose in front of national television so that his coach gets fired? Because I guarantee you the talk of the town, actually the world, the country at least, is going to be what just happened in this game. That was the worst 32 seconds I've ever seen handled by a team in NFL history. I don't know of one worse. I know Dan Candle's never handled a game that badly. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Appreciate you guys joining. We broke the curse. Hey, the Blueberries did it. I really thought this game was going to be close. I warned you guys on multiple occasions this last week that this game was going to be close. I did not think for 1 second we were going to just completely thrash the Bears. And after watching the first half, You know, I kept reminding myself and everybody that the score is not going to dictate what goes on in this game. We really looked like we were beating up the Bears pretty good in the first half. We were able to run the ball. We were able to complete passes, kind of doing whatever we wanted to do. And Ben was just in his bag. And then Ben was out of his bag. Completely in the second half, Ben disappeared. The whole offense disappeared. But I think the bigger problem that we're facing right now is injuries. And for a team that has such a great opportunity to finally do something that we've never been able to do, which is to reach a Super Bowl, are the injuries going to derail the season? That is the biggest question. That is the most consistent comment that I see, is that injuries are a real problem. You can only go next man up until there's no next man. And the Lions are almost there. They'll always be able to poach off practice squads. They'll always be able to get, the 36-year-olds laying on the couch. But man, this is starting to turn into a big problem. It really is. Anyway, let me welcome everybody into the chat for just a moment. Let's see who we're rocking with this late afternoon here on Thanksgiving. So Trace, of course, appreciate you. Trace is, by the way, has given away over 100 memberships. We've got people trying to call in already. I don't have the phone hooked up. Can you wait just 1 second? Whoever it is, call back in just a second. Anyway, Trace is giving away over 100 memberships. So everybody in the chat, do me a favor and give, a thumbs up, a shout out, a hello, a thank you, something to Trace. She's done an excellent job. And to all of the people that have bought the Honolulu Blue coffee, and anybody else that has donated, and everybody else that just shows up and watches this show and all of our different shows, I really appreciate you. So today it's about a day of being thankful, right? I'm thankful for all of you. I'm thankful for each and every one of you, whether you show up, whether you donate, whatever it is. You guys are the best. Of course, I'm very thankful for a lot of other people in my life too. Like Megan and my kids and my parents and brothers and sisters. I'm appreciative and thankful for everybody. And I'm really thankful for Caleb Williams today for blowing the entire 32 seconds. This game should have been tied headed into overtime. Absolutely. I don't know if their kicker can kick, but this game should. Why he can, because he made a couple against the Chiefs, or the Vikings. Sorry. This game should have been tied. Absolutely should have been tied. I don't know who called, but I will have the phone lines open here in just a moment. Not a new channel, been around for a little bit, but we have more new channels coming. If that helps, we got more new channels coming. Oh, I got my volume on. All right, so we've got somebody trying to call in here. Hold on one sec. Hold on here. Hold the phone. There we go. I got to get that turned off. All right. So if you're going to call in, you want to talk about the Detroit Lions, go for it. I'll open up the phone lines right now. I just had to make sure that I get the post-game show for the Lions turned off here. Otherwise, it's going to try to play in the background. All right. Rock that Detroit Lions. Who do I got on the line today? Are you there?
I am.
All right. I didn't hear who was calling to.
Yeah, I'll tell you. My name is Michael Cuppett. I'm from West Virginia. I spoke with Phil one time on his personal phone line. He called me back. We talked for just a minute, but I haven't called since. I'd love to talk to you about today's game.
Go for it, buddy. You got Will on the line.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
So what's on your mind, Michael? What do you think about today's game? I mean, it was another cardiac cats.
A lot of bad calls. I think it all started there. The game itself, and we won't talk about the calls because Detroit got one or two earlier in the game too. But what we will talk about is I think it all started to break down when Gibbs is such a fabulous runner. And he runs so hard, and that hit from the side was just tremendous. And so that fumble, okay, it happened. Uniforms. I know you may like the blue dress, but I'll tell you what, I've been a fan for 50 years, 25 years, season ticket holder, and I just love that Honolulu blue with the silver pants and the striping. I think it's just awesome. And everybody else does too. But here's what I want to do. I see the injuries also in that defense, and man, they just always have somebody to put in there. The drafting and the way they turn this team around, I don't know, Will. I think maybe we have 2 players maybe from the roster in 2020, maybe the 53, maybe 2. I'm not certain, but not very many. But here's what I want to say, and I'm just going to put it right out there. Campbell takes care of business. He said at the beginning of the season, I'll have 1 in my locker room, but I will not have 2. And he backed it up. He backed it up with Johnson. He backed it up with Bugs. And I think there was another player too. But they don't play around in that locker room, and they need that. They need that comfort zone there. Now, here's my deal. Aaron Hernandez. When he played football down in Miami of Florida, they did not ever want to see him go back to Jersey. They hated it. They tried to talk him out of it because they knew his history there. But he just couldn't stop. It was embedded in him as a child, and he wasn't going to stop. And consequently, we had a sad thing happen there. Now, that team that we have on that field today, they hit so hard and are so aggressive, and they want to be successful, but they hurt themselves. They just do, because every play they get up, and that grit has been really placed in them. And I want to finish it with this, Will. You have a very, very, very unselfish team throughout. And I mean everybody, and it shows with Mr. Gibbs and Mr. Montgomery. St. Brown realizes, I'm going to make a lot of money in this football league. He already has. But he also knows that he has character, he has personality, and he has charisma. And people love him for that. And he has quite a bit of ability. Brock Wright's coming on. Porta, and this kid, Patrick, oh my gosh, or this man, Patrick, oh my gosh. I mean, they just know how to draft. They know how to sign free agencies. They're just good at it.
Hey, Michael, Michael, real quick though, I commend
everybody from top to bottom. Let me get there what I'm going to say to you.
Sure.
When they brought Jameson Williams in, they gave him a year knowing he was going to be on that sideline. Right. They knew it with that ACL. They knew it. But they traded up for this kid. They traded up for him. That's how much they respected and liked him and his ability. They bring him in. Okay, now his portfolio is starting to slide a little. We have gambling. Okay, it was so we kind of swept it under. All right, that's okay. And then we had the substance abuse. Well, it wasn't that bad. It might have been doctor prescribed. Okay, that's 2. 3, we have the gun issue in the city of Detroit. Okay, that's all right because, he was out with his brother and his brother had concealed. Okay, that's okay too. And then you got throwing football in a player's face. You can't keep, and I love him. I think he's awesome. Yeah. I think he speaks well when they talk to him. He has a soft voice. He seems like a real good kid. But you just cannot keep sweeping because eventually another player on there is going to have a problem and he's going to come back to that. And that's about all I got to say, Will. And that's my experiences. We talked a lot. We talked one time. I talked to you about my experiences with the NFL and my history as a young man in Detroit.
It's deep, too.
I remember that conversation.
I remember the call. It was a deep conversation, Michael.
Very, very, very deep.
Yep.
Very deep.
And I've never shared any of it. Like I said, I wouldn't. But
I know you have not. You have not.
So I think,
and I respect and appreciate it.
Yeah. So I think
this isn't my first rodeo, Will.
Yeah. So I think what you're trying to say here is Jameson might be coming too much to handle for the team's continued success, because you could see today where he was jawing at the coaches, and that's something that I saw back in the first season, where he was jawing at the coaches. Antoine Randall L was hot, and then his assistant was trying to pull Jameson back. So something happened, and then Jameson was benched the rest of the game.
He's awesome, but he's not that awesome.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he can snap out of it. But I would agree that I think J-Mo's probably in a little hot water right now. And
I think there's a big conversation, and I think they will address it. Will, you do a great job. You share a lot of information out there that people can, and you know what? You don't run from controversy.
No.
I like that. You stand your own, and I appreciate that of you. And it's awfully good talking to you, and I hope you and your family have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you, my friend, for taking my call.
Appreciate you, Michael. Have a good night, man. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye, buddy. Okay. Yeah, if you guys haven't figured out, Michael has a lot of info. He likes to talk about a lot of different things, and he was trying to put it all in there. It's been a minute since he's called, and I think the real nature of the call today was JMO and what the hell happened on the field today with JMO. And we'll get into that. I promise you we'll touch a little bit on that, but I want to come back to that. So before we get to it, you guys, save your comments or whatever, or don't. Let me know what you're thinking about, the situation with JMO. Is this just another, okay, we won, like Michael said, we just sweep it under the rug, no big deal. That was on national television. And you don't embarrass your coaches on national television. You don't do it, period. But he just did it on national. I mean, the camera was on him. And he embarrassed his coaches. That does not fly with Dan Campbell. I'll come back to JMO. in a minute. Here's the bigger story of the day. The Lions found a way to win, but I will say this: they lost this game, and I think that what they did in the first half was incredible. What that defense did to Caleb Williams and holding Swift to less than 15 yards in the first half, and I think they had under 15 yards total in the first half as a team. I mean, get the stats pulled up. Absolutely incredible what this defense did. But you could see as soon as we started to lose players, as soon as Josh Paschal went out, started to have a problem. And Rodrigo went out, started to have bigger problems. The Lions cannot continue to lose players and expect for us to win games. We got Green Bay on the hook next week. There's only so many times the Lions are going to be able to bounce back from this. There's nobody else left. The trade deadline is gone. There's only so many players you can add to your team at any given time. The practice squads are going to be there for them to poach from, but you're not going to get many good players. Remember, those vets don't have to sign with you. So they're going to get young players that are less than 3 years accrued into the NFL. The 36-year-old laying on the couch right now that retired 3 years ago. Yep, he'll take a $700,000 game check, no problem. Or whatever it is, 150 grand, I don't know. Of course they'll take it. But is that going to help this team win? So while we were watching the game, I started to pull over, some of the stats, and I was looking at the roster. So to begin the season, we had Aiden Hutchinson, Marcus Davenport, DJ Reader, Ali McNeil, Levi O, Josh Paschal, Mekhi Wingo, John Kaminsky, and James Houston on the 53-man. Out of our defensive line, we now have DJ Reader, Ali McNeil, Levi O, and Mekhi Wingo. 4 out of 9. That's not good. And that's because Josh Paschal's hurt right now. Otherwise, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 9. We just let go James Houston. And that's my question right now to Dan Campbell is, Dan, we got a game against Chicago, and you let James Houston go. Why the timing? Because you didn't bring anybody else in to help us this week or next week. Why the timing? What was so critical that we had to let James Houston go before this game or before next week's game? That just didn't make any sense to me. So either something happened, with James and coaching staff or what, we don't know. Or, there's supposed to be a big move on the way, whether it's Steven Nelson or, Shaquille Barrett, if they can somehow figure that out, or another player. It doesn't make any sense to me. Chris Mason membership is by the good graces of Trace. So anybody that joins tonight and you see that you're lit up in green, Trace has given away more than 100 memberships just in the last week. So big shout out to Trace. When I look at our linebacker room, we had Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, Malcolm Rodriguez, Jalen Reeves-Maben, and Ben Nyman on the initial 53. And now we're down to Jack Campbell, Malcolm, but he's hurt, and Ben Nyman. So we got 3 guys on our initial 53-man roster. And those, I mean, Ben Nyman and Malcolm were backups. Alex, Jack, and Derek were our starters. We got 1 starter left. And on the defensive, line, those are all backups. Ali McNeil is the only starter that we have left, and DJ Reader. So 2 starters left on the D-line. Today's roster, we had Pat O'Connor, Levi O, Josh Pascal, Z Smith, Broderick Martin, Mekhi Wingo, Ali McNeil, DJ Reader. Jack Campbell, David Long, El Kudin Muhammad, Ben Nyman, Trevor Nowaski, Ezekiel Turner, Malcolm Rodriguez. This team is going through it. Happy Thanksgiving to you too, Bo. No, I have Green Bay on my scoreboard. What's going on there? We got the wrong one up. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Let's see if I can fix that real quick. Maybe that'll be the score next week. I don't know. Could be. Speaking of calls of the game, though, I told you guys this was going to be a tight game. And not only that, but I said that Patrick was going to have a good day. I thought that J-Mo was going to have a good day. I thought that Amon-Ra was going to have a very low average day of like 60 yards, 55 yards. I said that Sam Laporta was going to have a big day, and he did. 2 touchdowns. He came into the game with 3 and racked up 2 today. I thought Jahmyr Gibbs was going to have a big game and get at least 100, and that David Montgomery was going to back him up with 50. Those were all my calls for this game. I thought the Lions would win. I thought it'd be a tighter game. I think I changed the score. I know I keep forgetting, but I think it was 38-19 is what I said. And then in the beginning of the season, I think I had 35-22. So I still thought that we would win, and I thought that we would win by a decent margin, but I thought that it would kind of all happen a little bit later in the game. I expected it to be tight. I thought the first half, another one of my calls, I said the first half was going to be tight. That we just were going to get down in the red zone and stall out, and that's what happened. And what really sucked for today is the fact that we watched Jake Bates finally miss a field goal. Like, that was the heartbreaker of today. So when that happens, you know that something's going on, because that guy's been perfect, and that kick was right in his wheelhouse. Like, that was his kick, Just a lot going on in this game. I'm gonna roll into stats here in just a second, and let me try to get this fixed real quick. If you guys want to call in, the number's on the screen: 313-312-0348. Tell me what you think about the game. What do you think about next week? I think that's the more important question, is what are we going to be doing against Green Bay now that we've got all these injuries? Now, I don't know the extent of these injuries. We haven't heard any injury updates, and we probably won't this week. You know what I think the real problem is? And I said this during the live stream. I think the real problem in the NFL right now is this week, Thanksgiving, for the Lions. And you talk about player safety, and you talk about wanting to protect these players, yet for some reason you think it's okay to make these guys play multiple games in 4 days, 3 games in like 11 days. That's asinine to me. We had multiple guys drop today, and you could tell it's because they're on a short week. They're already gassed. They're already tired. And that's when injuries happen. When you're exhausted and you physically can't keep your body going, you can't physically defend yourself because you're just gassed, that's when injuries happen. And these guys are pros. I mean, they're the pros. I mean, they're the most ready of any person, any player out. These guys are it. They know what they're doing. But Too many injuries, man. And putting these players in this situation, I don't think it's fair to anybody. I think that if you're going to play on Thanksgiving, you've got to figure out a way to get these guys off for at least 7 days. No one should ever play on 4 days, ever. I think that is a bigger mistake than anything else. I think it's a bigger mistake than a hip drop tackle, as far as a rule. All right, we'll let this download and then we'll get it fixed. All right. So Nick P says, sounds like Rodrigo is going to be out for some time. Oh, that's just great. Trey says, I agree with that, Will. 4 days is just not enough rest. Laura McQuaig says, I thought the same thing. Will, Long came in, Smith, Mohammed. There was another name today, Turner. We are going through players here. Yeah, it's just been a turnstile in Detroit. Every week, it's somebody new. And I think it speaks volumes to our coaching staff and what they're willing to do, what they're able to do, what they've been doing. But again, I'm going to say it. We are not going to be able to go up against the best of the best in January and February when we keep suffering injuries like this. If the Lions lose enough games and we drop to a 5th seed, it is going to be even more difficult to go on the road with a bunch of guys that have only been with the team for a handful of games. They're nowhere near the same caliber as what we used to have. And if your offense sputters like it did today, for whatever reason, I just don't know what Ben Johnson was doing. Great first half. Second half just didn't make sense. Bruce MacArthur, that's what we get for the early bye. Yeah, that doesn't help either. And so to that point, Bruce, why, if you're on Thanksgiving, shouldn't your bye week be the week before? You would think. Or hey, even better yet, if you're going to play on Thanksgiving, then maybe you have the Monday night game the week before. Or the Sunday night game the week before. And then you've got that, whole 9 days or 10 days off. You play on Thanksgiving. And then you've got another, 7-8 days off. And then you play on the next Sunday. And then you roll right back into your regular schedule. Or you put a bye before or after Thanksgiving. But never 4 days. No team should ever play on 4 days. David Long Jr. did look good today. I prepped him up in a video talking about how his experience and what he does knifing through defenses. Really, really, really good. I really like David Long. He's going to surprise a lot of fans. He's really good in the run game. He's not a sack artist. He's not someone that's going to get a ton of pressure, on a quarterback per se, or a ton of sack numbers. He just doesn't. But as far as shutting down the run game, he does a really good job stepping up into the box. Really good job. So I assume most people have probably already had Thanksgiving dinner. What was your favorite part of it today? I would love to know. What was your favorite part of your meal today? We kind of did Thanksgiving last night so that I could do this today and have some leftovers to eat while we were live. Let me see if we've got Dan Campbell on yet. I don't want to miss him. Oh yeah, we missed him already. Here, let me bring Dan in. Let's talk about it. All right, let's roll into the press conference. Here we go.
Defensively, man, getting the 3 before halftime. They go for it on fourth down. We stop them. Now we have the ball, and we give it back to them.
Here you go. We got it fixed. I think I'm losing the internet feed. 1 second.
Was thinking with 11 seconds left on that play clock. Let's hear from him now. Here's Dan Campbell standing by at the podium.
You know, hey, good win. I mean, you find a way to get the W. That's ultimately
Sorry about that. Here we go.
What we did, and we found a way. You know, credit to that team. They played hard. We knew they would, and so you know, hard-fought game, and you know, I just thought there was a number of things. You know, I thought we started off pretty hot offensively, and defensively, man, getting the 3 and outs, really getting them off the field, and really chewing up all of the first half. But you know, the turnover going in, the penalties that we had in the red zone, you know, hurt us. You know, a little bit of the details of the passing game hurt us in some things. Thought we ran it pretty good. But ultimately, that one right before halftime, they go for it on fourth down. We stop them. Now we have the ball, and we give it back to them. It didn't cost us anything, you know, and that hurts. So that gives you a little momentum, and they come out, they score after halftime. But what I loved is our offense went down and scored. We answered back. So even when things aren't working perfect, man, we play complimentary football, you know. We go 3 and out, man. Jack Fox, what a massive punt, puts him down there on the 1 yard line. You know, I mean that's a huge play. And then ultimately our defense at the end of that game holds. So I'm proud of the way they fought. You know, we did what we had to do, and man, we're going to move forward. We're going to enjoy this first Thanksgiving win since I've been here, and our guys are going to enjoy it. We're going to enjoy it. We got a couple of days off before we're back, getting ready for Green Bay, or players do, and then we're on to the next one. So proud of the guys.
You were dealing with a bunch of injuries there later. Kind of cutting through it. Darius was one of them. Just how big was that play and kind of set up the good confusion for them there on that sack on second down, and just his play really all day. Got a couple sacks, and it really was a factor.
Yeah, I mean, look, our guys up front, I thought played their tails off. I mean, Darius did some really good things. I thought DJ Reader, man, you know, I thought he was outstanding. You know, Mac, I thought Pascal before he had the injury. I thought Al Muhammad played big for us, man. You know, it was good to get him back in the lineup. He's a relentless player. Gives you all he's got. You know, so great job with the defensive staff. You know, getting the next guy up, because we did. We got hit pretty good. You know, we lost a number of guys, and so. You know, those guys stepped up and helped us, you know, and the sack right before the last play of the game was huge.
And can you share your just emotion in that final minute as things were kind of unfolding? It was kind of a wild, you know, maybe
Yeah.
sack the last play, and they went to the locker room with one timeout. Just should that surprise you with the team? Just kind of everything that you heard.
Yeah, well, look, I think I really felt like the takeaway was I really felt like we were going to get a takeaway, like it was coming. I really did. And, you know, and that one didn't, but you know, obviously we won the way we did. So no, I didn't expect that, but I'll take it. I did feel like we were going to make a stand. I didn't see it, you know, happening that way. But you know, that's you get in those type of games, and you know, you get in those situations, and you know, you're trying to play off of and do the best you can, you know, because I'm also in my head thinking before that, do we need to, you know, use a timeout, give yourself a chance to answer back if they tie it, but yet, man, you don't, and now you allow them more time to score a touchdown and win the game. You know, you're going through all these scenarios. So, you know, I was just proud of the way the defense held.
Hold up. I just noticed something. Did they go back to the old podium? I just now noticed that. Where's the giant Meyer podium? It's now disappeared. I don't get it. Whatever.
I felt good about us doing it, holding. I just didn't know how it was going to play out.
And you guys have won so many games by multiple points, multiple touchdowns. Did it feel encouraging to
Oh, maybe because it's a national game and they can't display Meyer? Is that it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, look, I told the team, that's what I said. You know, if you're not careful, you start grading your own wins, and it's good because you have these standards, the way you think you should play, by your own standards, by what you have. It has nothing to do with the opponent. It's just you know yourselves, and you know what you're capable of, and so, you know, if you're not careful, you start going too far down that thing, then you start taking wins for granted. And ultimately, man, that's a good win against an opponent that is fought every week. And this was the third game in a row, division game, that those guys have brought it over there. And so we did what we had to do to win. And we'll clean up the other stuff that cost us some points. I'm not worried about that. But I will take this W, and I'm not going to lose sleep over it.
Yeah, when you say clean up the other stuff, do you include the taunting in that sort of self?
Yeah, and look, that I'll be honest with you, that's already cleaned up. It's already cleaned up. So we're good. And as a matter of fact, you know, J-Mo got right in front of the team a minute ago, unsolicited, and wanted to apologize to his teammates. That's big, man. It's growth. And it's all good.
Curious about the cornerback moves, Mosley and later.
Okay, so that's news, right? That's news. J-Mo took it upon himself to step in front of the team and address his issue. Well, tonight he almost cost us the game. Can't be doing that stuff. And so to hear Dan say that it is already handled, you know, basically it's water under the bridge, it's already done. That's kind of interesting to me. I don't know how you can already have it fully addressed, but then to hear him say that J-Mo just stood in front of the team and addressed it, I mean, I think that it doesn't get any better than that. That does take maturity. That does take somebody that cares. And look, I think that every single one of us believe in the fact that J-Mo is a good dude. Like, deep down, good dude. Good character guy. Is funny, likes to have fun. Maybe he has a little bit too much kid in him, but there's nothing wrong with that. If there's one thing I could tell everybody to do, that would be to stay a kid as long as you can, right? Just like the old Toys R Us commercials, right? Stay a kid as long as you can. I'm glad that J-Mo did that. I just want to know what happened or what's going to happen between him and his coaches, because to me, that's the bigger thing. Like, there's disrespect to your team by doing something stupid in the heat of the moment on the field. And then there's disrespect to your coach, which that kind of stuff, you start to, if you do that to your coach and other players see that, then that coach might lose. You know where I'm going? Like they just might not be as respected later. Not saying that's going to happen with the Lions or Antoine Randall L or anything like that, but generally speaking, you know, if you completely disrespect somebody that is your superior or your peer or whatever, and other people see that, then they think that they can do it in a general circumstance. On this team, I don't think that's going to happen. at all because we don't have other players that do this kind of stuff. But this was on national media, like everybody saw that. So I hope that JMO does something big for Antoine Randall L because, dude, Antoine Randall L is the guy. Like he's just a good all around good dude, man. And he's had this team flying high. He has been so incredible with this wide receiver group, and he should never be treated that way. So whatever happened. Antoine Randall is just trying to tell the dude, like, look, man, you're putting us in a bad situation. Like, we could lose the game now because of that. He gave him a freebie at the wrong time, which there's never a good time. Got to be smarter than that. So Elena, what he did is after a play, JMO had the ball and he threw the ball into one of the Bears players' face right in front of a ref. And he got flagged for it. So it cost us a personal foul penalty, 15 yards, and a first down was given to Chicago. Or I'm sorry, first down. No, was it given to Chicago or did we get marched back 15 yards? I think we got marched back. Now I forget. I'll have to go back and look. Hold on. Let me go back and look. Oh, where is it? Oh, JMO also had an illegal crackback in the game. That was 15 yards. I forgot about that one. That cost us a 15-yard penalty back to, yeah. That was another one that he had. I don't know. I'm not going to find it right now. J-Mommy says, JMO isn't the brightest candle on the cake, but he's part of it. Hopefully he's finally learned from it again. I don't know. See, that's the thing. We keep saying again. All right, let's finish Dan Campbell.
Inactive here, and also Arnold not starting. Just curious what went into some of those decisions.
So, yeah, Mosley had really pregame had something kind of pop up, and we just didn't feel good about him being able to go, having enough to really go full speed. And that's really what that came down to. And so obviously we got out of this game with him getting any worse, so that's a positive. Who else did you ask about? I'm sorry.
Arnold didn't start it, but came in on the second drive.
Yeah, we just wanted to make sure he was good. The last we saw him was before Indianapolis, and then he couldn't make that game, and so we just we felt good about bringing him to the game. We just kind of wanted to work our way in. We felt good about Vildor and Dorse. And once we got in there and saw him after the next possession, then he was good, and we let him go.
With 2 touchdowns today, how good was it to get him back involved in the red zone?
Who's that? Yeah, it was good. I mentioned it. I feel like this is as healthy as he's been in a while during the season, and he's in good shape. And he really brings.
That was kind of my take on Laporta this whole time too, is you could just tell throughout the last several weeks that Laporta he's been battling something. There's been a lot of bugs flying around, and it seems like every week he was banged up somewhere, whether it was an ankle or a knee or a thigh or something. He was banged up somewhere. He just wasn't himself. He was kind of out there more as like a decoy, it seemed like, even though he was kind of playing through it. In the last couple of games, you could tell that Laporta was back to himself, and he is getting separation. It's just, he's not first, I think, in the rotation now for whatever reason, and that's coming. So I'd rather have Laporta continue to build, kind of like that crescendo into the playoffs. Like, we need Laporta to build. He needs to be playing his best football by the end of this season, and I think that that's where he's headed. I was really confident in Laporta today. My pregame call, again, is I thought that Laporta would have a TD. He would have at least 50 yards, and it'd be a big part of today's game. And he was. He was a very big part of today's game. And more so is because of what the Bears do bad. And they usually don't do well against good tight ends. And Laporta is just one of the best tight ends in the league. So he ended up finishing only with, where was he? He had, don't tell me he only had 6 yards. Did he only have 6 yards? Said he had 6 yards, but 2 TDs. So didn't quite get his 50, but he had TDs. So that's all that really matters, I guess.
you know, sometimes I don't want to say you take it for granted, but, you know, you forget, you forget all that he does for us. And, man, he really helps us in the run game as well as what you see in the pass game, you know. He's a good player. And honestly, he makes the offense better, and he and Brock run right together. You know, it allows us to put
The way you
Brock
said that.
where he belongs, which makes him a better player, which in turn makes us a better offense, and so on. Listen, much better. I much better. I will take a W. Look, that's division win number 3, which is huge. Division win, especially in the race we're in right now, and then that's win 11, and it's another conference win. So listen, I feel good, and I'm going to take that W, and I'm going to enjoy this Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you and all your families and everybody out there. I'm going to enjoy this.
Two things, and just on the defensive line, do you ever feel snake bit with all these injuries? It just seems like one position that keep coming and coming. If there's any update on you guys.
Let me ask you this. Does it really matter? Like, who cares? You know, and that's the thing. That's what I go back to. Man, it doesn't matter. Like, either it is or it isn't, and we get a guy back, or we don't get a guy back.
I missed the question. Hold on.
You know, and that's the thing. That's what I go there. I
want to try to hear this next question here. Okay. The question was, do you ever feel snake bit by all of these injuries?
Let me ask you this. Does it really matter? Like, who cares? You know, and that's the thing. That's what I go back to. Man, it doesn't matter. Like, either it is or it isn't, and we get a guy back, or we don't get a guy back, and it like worrying about it and moaning about it and bitching about it. It's like calls, right? It's like the call. It's like Vildor. I could sit there and throw a fit about it. What does it matter? You know, it's called, it's done.
Oh, Dan might get a letter.
I know this. Whoever we have available, we're going to get them ready to play, and we expect them to hold the line, period. You got to do your job, and everybody around you is looking for you to do your job. So we'll give you the best opportunity to have success, or put you in the best position to have success, and, man, and we'll go. And if we got to do something different, we got defensive injuries, that makes us do something different offensively, and special teams will do that. If it's offensive, we'll play a little different on defense or special teams, and we'll find a way to balance the levies. I feel like it'll be okay. It could be a little bit. You know, they could be down for a bit. Look, I'll be honest with you. I think Rodrigo's the one that could be the worst. And I don't know how significant it'll be just yet, but he's the one I fear a little bit could be down.
Great. Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
The hits just keep on coming, y'all.
I mean, look, I didn't have a problem with the coverage. That's probably the best way to say it. You know, I thought those guys were competing for the ball, and I liked his coverage there. And look, I love the way, it's why Vildor's here, man. We love the way he competes. Like, you don't worry about him. It's too big for him, or he's not going to go out there, and he's not going to fight the guy. He's not like, you know, we know exactly what he is, and we love it. We love who he is and the way he plays. Yep.
All right, we might come back to some more video here, but let's get into some of these injuries for just a moment. So if we lose if we lose Rodrigo, that's a problem. It's a problem because we just don't have a whole lot left. Right now we have Jack Campbell, Ben Nyman, Trevor Nowaski. Hold on. So we have Jack Campbell, Trevor Nowaski, Ben Neiman, Ezekiel Turner, and David Long. We are very, very lucky we have David Long. When I look at this sheet, like this is what I want to point out to you guys. Let me bring this in. Let me fix something here so I can bring it in. Display capture here. This is just nuts to me with how many injuries we have and have had. I mean, just look at this. Let me make it so you guys can actually see it. I mean, we are extremely banged up. I'm gonna blow it up a little bigger here. I don't care if I'm on screen or not. So there you go. There's our defense. Look at all these IRs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11 guys on IR on defense. And after today, we have now added Mekhi Wingo, questionable. Levi Onwuzurike, questionable. Malcolm, questionable, probably out. Josh Paschal, questionable. Carlton Davis was out today. That's huge. And I guess to Dan's point, he doesn't care, right? He doesn't feel snake bit. It's always next man up. And I love the positivity. I love it. But the reality is, and I keep saying this, there's only next man up until you're out of the next man. And we are that close to where we don't have another man to get inserted into this defense to help us win. We have literally half of a defense right now that we started with. Half. We started with 25 guys on the initial 53-man roster. I think it was 24, 25. And you got 11 guys on IR. So that's almost half have been lost to injured reserve. That's just crazy to me. Emmanuel Mosley was out today. You know, here the guy that was supposed to help us today, he was out. Why was he out? What happened? He played last week and now he's out. The guy just can't stay healthy. So Brad is going to have to hit the phone line big time. He's going to have to find some guys. I'll say it again. There's a guy that I would love to see come out of retirement. His name is J.J. Watt. Just do it, dude. Just do it. Just come out of retirement. Aaron Donald. Hey, you know what? You're not that far removed. It won't happen. But those are the kind of guys you would wish that would come knocking on your door at the right time. Not going to happen. Let me go back to someone had a question or a point a minute ago. J Mommy, you had asked about the turf. So the Lions changed their turf. And they changed their turf, I want to say in 2022 or 23. And since then, the Lions really haven't had a ton of injuries. Turf-related injuries, right? Non-contact type of injuries in the lower limbs. And I think that's a big part of it. I feel like the turf that the Lions use, which is the latest and greatest technology, is the best available. And it does reduce, you know, some of these non-contact injuries where your foot or your spike or something kind of gets stuck and you twist the wrong way, or you get twisted up, or your foot can't move, or you can't slide, which forces you into a hyperextension or worse. That's where a lot of these injuries come from. And I feel like the Lions have done a great job at trying to manage that. And Sheila did address it. Let's get into some stats real quick. So, you know, to start the game off, the Lions, you know, we marched down the field, and, the Bears kind of marched down the field. They didn't score. But the Lions marched down to get a field goal in the first quarter. We get a touchdown and a couple of field goals in the second quarter. We get a touchdown in the third quarter. And then we just disappeared. Thankfully, when the Bears got into the red zone, the Lions held them out pretty well. I can't wait to go back and watch the game again. But when you look at the stat lines and you looked at Caleb was 20 of 39 for 256 yards and 3 TDs, that all happened in the second quarter, the second half. In the first half of this game, they had less than 70 yards of offense. DeAndre Swift had like 15 yards of rushing, and I think Caleb Williams had like 26 yards of passing or something like that. I don't see where it's broken down by half here. I wish it was. Let me see if I scroll down if it'll tell me. I don't think it does. But anyway, there's your stat lines of the day. Caleb Williams, 20 of 39, 256, 3 TDs, sacked 5 times. And that was probably what saved us. For somehow we somehow got to Caleb. He was banged up today. Caleb took a lot of hits. It almost looked like at one point he didn't even want to get off the turf. He was rethinking about playing football the rest of the day. I thought he was going to pull an Anthony Richardson and just tap out. He had that kind of look on his face, and his body was showing it. But he kept getting up off the turf and he kept making plays. There's the one thing that I will say about Caleb Williams, and that you can never count this guy out. But for some reason, I think that there's just something missing right now where he can't get over the edge. He can't get over the hump. DeAndre Swift held the 39 yards. Caleb Williams held the 39 yards. The Lions, again, I lost count. I think we're at 30. It's like our 30th game in a row that we have not allowed 100 yards to as a team. To our opponent rushing on the ground. DJ Moore ended up having a pretty good game. 8 receptions, 97 yards, 1 TD. Keenan Allen, 5 receptions, 73 yards, 2 TDs. DeAndre Swift, 2 for 35. Cole Kmet, 3 of 26. Roma Dunze, 2 of 25. So the Lions did a pretty good job there. I mean, for what it was, 256 is a lot of yards, especially in one half of football. But on the other side, Amon-Ra St. Brown ended up being our leading receiver today. 5 of 73 on 7 targets. Tim Patrick, 2 for 3 of 48. David Montgomery, 3 of 3 for 36. Jamo, 5 of 7 for 28, which he was a big reason why we got going in the beginning of this game, along with Tim Patrick. Jahmyr Gibbs, 2 for 4 for 17. And Sam Laporta, 3 of 6 for 6 yards and 2 TDs. On the ground. Again, I don't know what happened to Ben Johnson in the second half, because the hot hand was Jahmyr Gibbs. And he did almost all of that damage in the first half. And then for whatever reason, he switched to David Montgomery in the second half. So both of them combined, I thought that they would put up at least 160 yards in this game. They did. They almost put up 180 in this game. David Montgomery was 21 carries for 88 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs, 9 for 87. The guy was averaging, I don't know, what is that, 8.5 yards a carry, or almost 9.5 yards a carry. It's crazy numbers. Jamo, they tried to get Jamo going. Just didn't work out. Excuse me. Jared Goff, 101. Look at the wheels. Jared Goff again on the ground doing his damage. Gotta love it. Hard win. Tough game. This game concerns me because now we're going up against the Packers, and the Packers are playing pretty good ball right now. They're fairly healthy. The Lions are really feeling it right now. Really feeling it right now. Not sure what you're talking about, Eno. Anyway. Where do we go from here? What's next? Who are we going to bring in? Who's available? Those are going to be questions that we're going to try to get to probably next week. Tomorrow morning, we'll be back on the Rise and Grind morning show. We'll be talking more about the game. And as far as, looking at players that are available, I mean, of course, I'm going to look around. But I just don't know of really anybody that's available that's really going to help this team win right now. And I'm sure Brad Holmes has a whole list of people. But let's listen to what Jared Goff had to say. Got to get this switch, though. All right, here we go. Jared Goff.
From Jared Goff.
Yeah, it was a crazy ending, right? Like, thought we won, thought we were going to go overtime, thought we were going to have a chance to have our final drive, thought we won again. Like it all kind of kept happening. Ultimately, our defense, bend don't break, and made those plays at the end. Those sacks were huge. Some of the stuff on the back end was huge covering, and they made it happen. But yeah, it was a good win, and don't care how it happens, don't care against who. Division game on Thanksgiving, we'll take any way we can. Yeah. Yeah, it's the best. I was just talking about it. You have in your NFL career, you have these bucket list items, and holding the Lombardi is obviously number one. But like the whole eating the turkey after the Thanksgiving win is up there too, and that's something that I'll never forget. And it was actually pretty good, and the stuffing was good, and we were having a good time, and it's awesome. It's a memory I'll have forever. David was eating carrots. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. He maybe wasn't hungry.
That's good red zone defense.
It is.
They've got over there.
Yep.
But how frustrating was it? Maybe some self-inflicted things a little bit.
Yeah, it was more. It was more that. Obviously the turnover hurts, and some of the penalties hurt, and then we just had some crap plays down there that we didn't execute very well, and it just wasn't our best performance in the red zone, and we got to be better. We'll learn from it. It's good to learn from that stuff and get better, but that is a good unit in the red zone over there, but we certainly had our opportunities to make plays that we didn't make. Yeah. Yeah, that was good. Couple good ones to him, and got himself open on both of those and put it right in on him, but he's a good player, and he's finally getting back to himself at this point, and it feels good.
What's your thinking when a game starts like that? You guys are dominating. I think it's 17-0.
16-0, yep.
And you don't think that they're going to come back, but it is the NFL.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think like the red zone stuff, like we had a chance to make it 28-0 or whatever it would have been if we would have scored all the touchdowns, and even at the end on that drive at the end of the half, make it 23-0, or even 19-0 if we get a field goal. But you just know that you kind of left the door open a little bit, and all right, like this is going to be a game now, and we've kind of put ourselves in this position, unfortunately, and have to kind of fight for it now and continue to finish this game. And I thought they fought back well. That team is a good team. They're talented, and they did a good job fighting, and we were able to close the door at the end.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, he's right where he needs to be. He's doing a good job. I know that was a mistake by him, but I'm proud of him, the way he handled it and the way that he stood up and took responsibility. And we'll move on. There's no problems there.
You did a great job distributing the ball today. You can have it in and around the pivot.
Yeah.
Like he's possibly going to throw it for a second.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about how much trust you have in an offensive line.
Yeah, that was a fun one that we've been working on for a while, and it just hadn't come up for whatever reason, and he got it and didn't quite have the look to throw it, so it didn't work out. But he made 2 or 3 guys miss on the tackle, and I was kind of giggling the whole time watching it.
You've been in that position at the end of the game, like Caleb Williams was. Obviously, up in the stands or the press box, it looks like much easier to manage. But just your take on how that game ended. 30 seconds for the sack and the timeout.
Yeah, it ended in our favor. It's hard, man. The end of the game stuff, it's hard. It's real-time decisions both sides are making, and it's a lot of reps, and it's a lot of time spent on those situational stuff, and we came out on top today. I thought Caleb played really well, and I'm sure we'll have our battles for a long time, but he's a good player and did a good job.
The discipline it takes to not throw that ball.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't. Yeah, you kind of would like him to throw it away. That's what we were joking with him about. But he's like, no, I'm only gonna get this chance once. I'm gonna try to break some tackles. So be it. I think he got back to the line of scrimmage. No harm, no foul.
On the other side of the ball, I know just the D-linemen and linebackers just went through a lot today and had a couple guys out. From your perspective on sideline, after seeing guys go down and guys like Darius kind of have to
Yeah.
out, or Muhammad really step up in
Yep.
those positions, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's fun to see that. Obviously, Zadarius, is a new addition to our team, but Muhammad's been doing a good job since he got here on defense. On scout team, making it hard on us, and then obviously in the games now he's doing a great job. And it's fun to see guys step up. It's never fun to see guys get hurt or get injured or have to leave the game. But when guys are able to step up and make those plays and make a name for themselves on national television, it's fun.
What is added to the locker room just since the veteran guys play a lot of games?
Yeah, he's added a lot. Energy. I mean, energy and understanding of where we're at in our season and what we're looking for. And he brings that energy every day. He's obviously such a great player on the field physically, but I think emotionally and his juice daily brings something to that defense. It's fun.
In the locker room after the game, how much did it mean to end the Thanksgiving streak?
Yeah, like I said, it's kind of a bucket list for me was to win on Thanksgiving, and now we can start our new streak of winning. But yeah, it was big, and certainly that game came down to the wire there, and was, you're worried about which way it's going to go, but to get the W in the way we did, and to end that skid that we've been on, and kind of put that to rest, it's another kind of check off our list that we've been working on for the last handful of years, and it feels good.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so that was it from Jared Goff. Like he said, JMO addressed everything, and it's all good. So they're moving on from it. Really, that's the only thing that matters. But like I just said in the chat, if JMO does this crap again and it costs us a game, yeah, I probably wouldn't be so nice about it. I feel like what JMO did at that time in the game, it was just so unnecessary, just not needed, and it can cost you a game at some point in time. So those are the little things that just can't happen because they turn into big things. But at least, hey, Jared Goff has trust in him. Dan Campbell has trust in him. They're just going to keep pushing forward. They're going to just keep, peddling the positivity as most, or best they can. And hopefully JMO turns the corner of not doing stupid stuff. Every week it's been something. And that needs to stop. We need to see JMO in the end zone, right? We need to see JMO having big games. And getting benched on Thanksgiving is not part of the plan. Good news on Thanksgiving, though, is Jared Goff snapped or at least added a check mark to his bucket list, which was winning on Thanksgiving. But he also did something else pretty cool. And that was he now joins quarterback Brett Favre, or former quarterback Brett Favre, as the only quarterbacks in NFL history to have at least 2+ TD passes in each of their first 4 Thanksgiving Day games. That's pretty cool. More stats and more franchise and more NFL history marks. Jahmyr Gibbs is the first player in franchise history to produce 70+ scrimmage yards in each of the first 12 games of a season. Dan Campbell and the Lions have now won 10 straight games, tying their single season franchise record long streak that was set in 1934. For some reason, I feel like we said the same thing last week. I thought last week we tied it, and this week we are going to beat it. Maybe not. I'll have to go back and look. The Lions are 11-1. This is the best start to a season in franchise history. And Lions players that are out with injury, obviously linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez with a knee, and Josh Paschal also with a knee. Those are the 2 players that we're most worried about right now. The other ones seem to be okay, but Malcolm Rodriguez is the one that could potentially take some time. DJ Reed has produced 3 sacks this year, establishing a single season career high for DJ Reader. That's pretty cool. As a guy that, we expected to come in and get interior pressure, a guy that we did not expect to get a ton of sacks. And he's got 3. Maybe he gets to 5. That would be phenomenal, I think, for him. He's just not a guy that you expect to get a lot of sacks. He's someone that helps everybody else around him get the sacks. The other injured players were Mekhi Wingo, and I thought there was one more, but it's escaping me right now. Sam Laporta now has 15 career receiving TDs, which is tied for the 4th most by any NFL tight end through 2 career seasons. 15 career TDs, tied for the 4th most of any NFL tight end through 2 career seasons. He is also the 8th tight end in NFL history to log 3 multi-TD games through 2 career seasons. He had 3 last year, and he's got 3 this year so far. No, now, hold on. Let me back that up. That's not right. No, he only has 3 multi-TD games through 2 career seasons, not 3 in each. My apologies. Jared Goff is the 6th quarterback in NFL history to log 100+ passing TDs for multiple franchises. He joins a very short list of Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Palmer, Fran Tarkenton, and Kurt Warner. I don't know which Palmer that is. It says C. Palmer. I don't know which Palmer that is. Why don't I know? Why can't I remember the first name there? It's not Chris, is it? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Levi Onwuzurike, that was the other one with a hamstring injury. The only other Lions players to produce 100 points in their first career season, Jake Bates. Jake Bates is now matched up with Eddie Murray and Doak Walker as the only Lions players to produce 100 points in their first career season. That's pretty cool. Jake Bates is going to be an amazing story for many seasons in Detroit. And I am expecting that the Detroit Lions will probably re-up his contract next year, even though he signed for 2 seasons. I am expecting to see Jake Bates get an extension, because you're going to want to do it now and not let him get into his second season, and then the bidding becomes wide open and teams are going to want him. So I'm expecting the Lions are going to do something next season for him. That's really it for your franchise and NFL records. The only other one that happened earlier in the game is Jahmyr Gibbs passed Kevin Smith for the 3rd most scrimmage yards as a Lions player through the first 2 seasons of their career. Kevin Smith had 2,424, and Jahmyr Gibbs has now passed that mark. So, hey, look, we've got an exciting team. We've got a lot of big-time players on this roster, and we've got a lot of players missing on this roster. It is definitely going to be a very interesting, 6 games or whatever we have left now, and 5 games that we have left now. What are the Lions going to be able to pull off? How many more games do we need to win? Riley O'Brien, who joined me for the live game stream today, he said he was looking back at one of the September issues of the Rise of Grind morning show. And he said that I made a prediction that the Lions would be 14-1 through 15 games. We can get there. We're 11-1. And if we're 14-1 through week 15, I guarantee you that is number 1 seed locked up, and definitely the NFC North locked up. So we can get there. There's still the chance, but we've got a few tough games ahead of us. And we're missing quite a few players. So the Lions are going to have to do something to turn it around and to make sure that we can keep some players in the game and healthy. I'll finish with this. It is nice to see, for the first time in a long time, where it's not the Detroit Lions having a 4th quarter blunder. We haven't seen it a whole lot with Dan Campbell. Maybe in 2021 and 2022, he had a couple of mysterious calls. But prior to Dan Campbell, it always seemed like we burned ourselves in the 4th quarter. And now it was the Chicago Bears completely mishandling the last possession of the game. They could have sent it to overtime. Kind of like what Jared Goff was saying. Like he was a little miffed that, well, we thought we had the game won, and then we thought that it was going to be tie going into overtime, or maybe we were going to have our last possession. None of that needed to happen. The Bears took care of it for us by screwing it all up. So thankful for Caleb Williams for whatever he was thinking, and Matt Eberflus because he wasn't thinking. But it's good to see that it's not the Lions now that are going to be front page headlines all over the place tomorrow and tonight about the epic collapse of Caleb Williams. So there's one other thing that I want to look up, and I'm just going to search Caleb Williams' name and see what's being said right now. Bears let time tick off in the disastrous final seconds of a crushing Thanksgiving loss. They still think that despite the loss, that Caleb Williams gives the Bears fans hope. Yeah, I don't know about all that. Matt Eberflus just wasted Caleb Williams' monster second half. And Caleb Williams worries fans with a reckless decision, leading to a big hit in the Bears' loss to the Detroit Lions. Well, I will say this. It's going to be a rough couple of days for Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears, and I ain't mad about it at all. I don't know who always says it, but Lions rule, Bears drool, and that's going to continue today. Let's see. Area says the next 2 games are huge. Even if the Bears, won in 3 weeks will be interesting. Yeah, let's just hope that we can wrap everything up in the next 2 weeks. Between the next 2 games that the Lions play before we get to Chicago, because that's going to be a tough game outside. Let's hope that we can wrap things up. And what I mean by that is we have to at least wrap up the North, which means we're going to need some losses from Green Bay. We're going to need some losses from the Vikings. And if that happens, and we can lock things up by week, 16? I think we go back to the Bears. That would be very helpful. Very, very helpful. So somehow we're going to have to rattle off 2 more wins. And I think the Lions will be in great position. So that's it for today. I'll see you guys back in tomorrow morning for the Rise and Grind morning show. And we'll have more to talk about that. It's been a long day. I'm going to go finally eat some pie and go chill out and watch some football. You guys have a wonderful night. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. And don't forget to visit buymeacoffee.com/rockdon. If you want to get your Honolulu Blue Brew today, order Triumph. Triumph is our first edition. It is the absolute best coffee in the world. I promise you, it is what I drink every single day. It is a Milky Way medium dark roast. You can thin it out if you want to, but you really don't need to. It does not hit like that. It is very smooth. It has got toasted malt, milk chocolate, and sweet walnut notes of flavor. And it's only $22 right now on the buymeacoffee.com/rockdon site there for Buy Me a Coffee. It does support Rockdon Cancer Foundation. It's only $22 delivered to your door, only in the continental United States. I'm not shipping internationally, only in the continental United States. So $22, or you can join the membership where you'll get 3 8-ounce bags every month for $50 a month. And they're all local curated coffees. It is only the finest selected beans around the world. And I promise you, you will enjoy each and every sip as we brew hope 1 cup at a time. We'll see you guys in the morning. Take care. Go on Pride. Go Detroit Lions. Have a good night.
Every day, thousands of people are discovering Uper Lights, Michigan's newest, funnest rock to go find on the shores of the Great Lakes. Don't go out with just any light. Try the Convoy C8 from uperlights.com. It's guaranteed for life, and you'll find all the ones everyone else misses. Quality UV lights that are perfect for Uper Lights with prices starting as low as $20. Please make sure to visit uperlights.com for all your UV flashlight needs with the best guarantees on the market. Just what you wanted and not what you didn't. The best quality, the best guarantees, and the best UV flashlights from uperlights.com.